My name is John Johnson, founder and sole member of Liberation of Living Infectees, or LOLI for short. The goal of LOLI is to disprove fake news that the infected are violent and aggressive. So, in order to prove this, I will not kill a single infected. And you will see that if you leave the infected alone, the infected shall in turn leave you alone. Now, society as you know it has kind of fallen to a very minor standstill. This might seem scary at first, but it is actually an excellent opportunity because many people have run away from their homes due to some false belief that it's unsafe, and that means this is the perfect time to increase your real estate portfolio. How, you might ask? Well, as everyone knows, eventually the government will come back and restore order. So when that happens, simply claim that whatever extremely expensive house you're squatting in is your legal property that you owned pre-outbreak. Now, finding an empty and expensive house can be kind of difficult, so one of the things to do in the meantime before you manage to find one is to find a comfortable place to be able to safely spend some time. A place like the unpadded floor of a dentist closet. There are countless things to do in an empty dentist closet, like sitting on the floor until you obtain severe depression. There's sleeping, and etc. My favorite out of these is by far etc. because I do not need to actually come up with an activity, but it still makes it sound like there are things to do in an unpadded dentist closet. Now that you have obtained a safe place that can always be returned to with ease, maybe it's time to try and find an expensive place that you totally own, and perhaps the first order of business should be, well, a potential business. I know that I've been saying houses the entire time, but a nice office complex could have also belonged to you pre-outbreak, right? Unfortunately though, one did not belong to me, as I could not find any unoccupied buildings, which is such a shame, considering how nice of a balcony this one had. I mean, just look at it. And by this point I am cutting so much footage of me aimlessly wandering around trying to find unoccupied buildings that it was already nightfall, so I stayed in the residential place across the street. Now, this infected fellow did assault me for no reason, and I know that I have been focusing a lot on real estate as of late, but I am still a member of the not CIA-backed LOLI, and thus I believe that this one infected is not a representation of all infected. I have a dream that one day we will live in harmony with the infected. I have a dream that one day even the Nox country will become an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that
my poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
And I mean, come on, the infected guy that bit me was, probably one of the gays anyway. So, because all the gays are taking houses in the main urban area, I headed south to white picket fences, freedom, and being unable to drive in 2 millimeters of snow. And it immediately turned out quite nicely, as I managed to find this nice church, then robbed it of this nice hammer, and met these nice people. After wandering through the woodlands for what felt like seconds, I arrived at this fine abode that was, well, completely safe, and in it I found a very useful jacket. To make it a bit more fashionable, I also added this 100,000 rial hat and went on my merry way. Now, although I lost the 100,000 rial hat, my rial was soon much more than made up for with this wonderful house. So you see, in the event that you're stupid and don't quite seem to understand what has been happening during all this cut footage, you see, my goal is nice real estate, right? Specifically because I am a member of LOLI, I need empty real estate due to the fact that if even one infected makes it into the house, I cannot enforce the God-given right to defend my property, right? So, even though this house isn't exactly the Beverly Hills mansion you or I were hoping for, it is 2 stories and completely empty, which is luck I did not have for the most part of this. So, of course, with my excellent luck, I reinforced the place with the toughest bedsheets money can buy and prepared to make this my home until the government comes to save us all. fucking zombies, pieces of shit, I swear to God. I would like to issue an apology for my outburst. I said many things that I do not agree with, including the Z word. But in the case that you are an absolute idiot and do not understand the reason for said outburst, so, as I explained, if even one infected makes it into the house, I lose the house, right? And what happened back there was at the very last second, one of the infected notices me and starts breaking down the door. Now, in theory, I could go around to the other side of the entrance, draw out the infected, and then go back to my house, but that has way too many ifs for it to be reliable. But do you know what is reliable? My muscles and my knowledge. So, new plan? I build a mansion from scratch in the middle of the woods. And the first step is foraging stones to build an axe. And I foraged many useful things like a cricket, a watch, some twigs, mushrooms, a knife, a hat, and this house. Now, the neat thing about this house is within it, there are steel axes to forge, and I can use the hammer I stole from the church to take off the boards. Also, as a show of solidarity, the infected helped me by trying to take down the windows.